This is TWiT.
Windows 11. There's a name for 22H2.
Well,
Maybe.
well,
A qualified
this goes
name?
back. This is look, among my many pet peeves with Microsoft these days, and Windows in particular, and related to the subject that I think Mary Jo and I both agree on with when it comes to complaining, which is communications. Microsoft has always done a really terrible job of explaining what things are, giving things names. Mm-hmm. So the premise here is that based on some screens, one of my users sent me a screenshot of this. It looks like the update that will bring you to Windows 11 version 22H2 will be called the Windows 11 2022 update. Now, aside from the tongue-tying nature of what I just said, and two different ways of saying something, 22H2 versus 2022, this is something Microsoft has done in the past, where they've said, hey, you're running Windows, and then they'll say the name of the update. And no, you are not running that thing. And that's what literally this Microsoft update or Microsoft screen says. It says, you're now running the Windows 11 2022 update. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's the name of the update. It's not the name of the version of Windows. It's still, and they could change this too, and that would be fine, but to date they have not. That version of Windows is called Windows 11, version 22H2. That's what you're running. You ran the update to upgrade to this version, but the name of the update is not what you're running, right? I mean, I know it sounds like semantics, except that if we're all speaking a different language, then we can't communicate effectively. Like, and Microsoft, this is a Microsoft screen. They do this routinely. They do this in the Windows Insider blog post. They'll interchange the name of the version of Windows with the name of the update that got you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it makes me crazy. And I know it's
But you don't want to go back to like creators update and all that.
I don't know. Actually, you know what? I don't care. My point is, when it was the creators update, you were not running the creators update. You used the creators update to upgrade to Windows
I get it.
10 version.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
1809 or whatever it was. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's the update, which is the thing you're applying to get you to a point, but you are not running the update. You're running whatever that
That's right.
version.
Both of those things have names. Both of those things are different things. Both of those things have different
What would be an ideal way to do this? I think the problem with creators is it doesn't tell you sequentially, so you need to do numbers, Right?
I love the number thing when we were doing like 1809, 1902. Like, what was wrong with that? That was good.
Well, we still are, right?
But it wasn't tied. But the dates were a burden because what if they didn't get it out in those?
The other problem with this name is when you think about it, the very notion that there is a Windows 11 2022 update is insane. There have been several 2022 or updates in 2022.
Right.
So far, there will probably be another one. And this gets into another area. We've rebranded everything. We always talk about this. We used to have betas and release candidates. We would have the RTM version, GA. We had these terms, Now we have these rolling kind of releases, whatever. We have at least 3 weeks a month where cumulative updates are applied to Windows. Some of them advance the version number of the operating system, the build number. We have different ways to refer to all this stuff. And look, we can debate what the best system would be, I guess. But the problem is they keep changing how they name things, but they keep screwing up how they name things too. And I don't know.
You know what?
This is just my biggest pet peeve.
I think this is going to get worse. If the rumors are true, like if we are going to this new schedule where there's one major update every 3 years. So let's just say for simplicity, the next one is Windows 12, right? What do you call all the updates between now and then? Yeah. What, especially if they aren't doing feature updates once a year in the second half of the year, which that's what Zach Bowden heard. He heard they may do away with that, right? So there might be 4 different updates, up to 4 different updates that are called internally moments. But what are we going to call them? Like how are we going to refer to you're on the one that came out in September versus the one that came out in February, right?
It's tricky enough to have to go to a company like Microsoft and say, what do you call this thing? Because I want to call it the right thing. and then to be told 3 different things because they have no idea how to call it, what to call it. And like I said, in some ways I don't really care. We had this conversation maybe a week or 2 ago, but I still believe they need to release something. We'll call it the 2022 update, the 2023. Right? Yes, because there are 2 things going on. They have to hand off this thing to PC makers, which I guess they could just update rolling over time. But they also have these licensable moments with their enterprise customers where a support life cycle is tied to this thing.
Right.
You can't just do away with feature updates. That's how you determine the support life cycle of a product. So, we have short-term support. We have longer-term support versions. Some updates are supported for a very short period of time. Some are longer. Like I said, honestly, I couldn't care less what the system is. I just want them to know what it is. I want them to be able to communicate it effectively, and I want to be able to explain what it is to other people who don't understand it. And they keep moving the ball there. But I don't feel like there's any I'd love to speak to someone who knew what this even meant. I mean, it's just I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't know if you can tell.
Especially doing a book, I'm sure, or people who are trying to do any kind of documentation, right? Because you want to say the exact terminology that's being used, but if there is no one standard, what do you do with that, right?
The story I always tell, and this is before things got really messed up, was in 2010. I think Microsoft announced Windows Phone 7 series at the time. I called my guys and I said, I'm writing a book about this. I will write the first book about Windows Phone. I need to come there immediately and I need to see this thing. And they said, you can come here. We can't give you one yet. It was too early. Come to the campus. We'll give you a phone. We'll lock you in a room, which is literally a dungeon. And you can take pictures of every screen. You can write down every single whatever, blah, blah, whatever. So I did this. I did this for 2 days straight. And at the end of 2 days, I sat down. It was Charlie Kindle and I'm forgetting people's names now. Greg was there. Greg Sullivan. And someone else. The guy who's now long gone. But and I said, okay, I have a list of questions. And a lot of those questions were, what are these things called? And the answer was, oh, well, we don't really have names for those. And I said, no, you do have names for those.
Yeah, they have names because they have to discuss it.
No, they said, no, we don't. I said, no. It's implemented in software. This thing in software code is called a thing. There is a name.
When you go and you sit in a room at a big table with a bunch of people, and you're talking about the thing, what do you call it?
Microsoft, they're like the parents that come home from a hospital with a baby, and people say, is it a boy or a girl? I say, boy, great. What did you call it? Oh, we haven't given it a name yet. Really? Really? You took it home from the hospital, and you don't have a name for him. Really?
So that happened to me in real life, but okay.
Oh, did it really? Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I mean, I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. You had a baby? When was, or are you talking about your cat?
No. When I was born, my parents couldn't agree on a name for me, and so they brought me home from the hospital without a name, and the hospital kept calling them and saying, "Wait, you got to come up with a name for her," and they couldn't.
My point wasn't that
it happens.
My point wasn't that it doesn't happen. My point is that when it happens, it's insane.
It's a big deal.
Their friends must have been like, "What is wrong with you? You've had 9 months to think about this."
They were taking votes
what
from
were the
people.
Names?
Like, what do you guys think?
What were the names that they were considering?
Well, so one name I was going to have was Margaret. That was my dad's mother's name. Nice. But my mom did not like it because she said, I don't want you named after somebody else. I want you to have your own name.
Oh.
And so then I forget what else they came up with. But I ended up being named after my mom's best friend who was from the South. And that's why I have a Southern first name, even though...
Mad Joe, bring me a piece of pecan pie. Come on, Mad Joe. I like Margaret.
Margaret's like
Foley.
A traditional Irish.
You could have been Maggie or Meg.
My dad hated that. My dad's like, I don't want her to be called Mo or Meg. I don't like that.
Yeah, we were gonna have a third child that was between Mark and Kelly, and that child unfortunately was miscarried. And for a long time, I joked that child's name was Montpellier. And because what I wanted to do was go outside and be like, Mark, Montpellier, time for dinner.
Allons-y, Montpellier. Wow. Or Mont Blanc would be good, too.
Mont Blanc.
Are you a pen or a boy?
Mark Penn, his favorite guy from
Mark Penn.
Sure.
We I wanted to name our daughter Abby Abigail because I said, well, Abby's a nickname, if she becomes a judge, you want her to be Judge Abby? No, she should be Judge Abigail Laporte. And Jennifer vetoed it. She said, no, Abby, because I don't want any other nicknames to come along. So you prepare it ahead of time. You say, this is the name and the nickname.
My name is so terrible.
Guys,
I wanted my kids' names.
Paul's
naming is hard, but you know what? When you have 9 months to do it,
you can do it by then. We wanted to call Abby Clara, and my mom said, no, that's Clarabelle the Clown from the Howdy Doody show. And we said, oh, no.
Right.
Yikes.
Can't do that one.
Sure.
That's one mistake people make is they tell people. And everybody's got an objection.
Well, I say my son's name is Mark because it's easy to spell, and my last name is really hard to spell. And then they say, how do you spell it? And I say M-A-R-Q-U-E.
I knew it, Mark. M-A-R. Well, I went to college with M-A-R-C-Q-K. So
there you go.
Wow.
But at least it's another apostle. And of course, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So
we need more of those.
You need, God knows. Moving right along.
Yeah.
We now, it's okay. Are you done? I mean, are you happy? The Windows
no, I'm not happy, Leo.
2022
He's
update.
very unhappy. He's very unhappy.
But I think the Windows 11 2022 update isn't bad. It's long.
So look, for whatever reason, because Microsoft had first half, second half updates for a few years, they moved from, remember, like Mary just said, they used to have 1803, 1809. 1903, 19. Well, they never.
But that's what this is doing. This is saying, no, there's only one in 2022.
Yeah,
and this
is
but it's actually not doing that because the version of Windows you're going to upgrade to is still called 22H2.
Oh no, I see your problem now.
Okay. Yep.
Right.
I see the issue.
Look, I don't know.
You know what I'm going to call it? I'm going to call it. No, I'm just going to call it 2209.
I already know. In the same imbecilic way that the question I asked about the charms was answered, that when I go to Microsoft and I say, so what do you call this thing? And they say, Paul, it's just Windows 11.
Yeah.
And then I say, I quit. I give up. It's because it's really not. It's not just that. Everything changed.
They don't want consumers to dwell, as we are, on the differences.
Look, I don't either. That's fine. I just look. This is a support issue. File Explorer alone has changed dramatically between the first version of Windows 11 and the second. Just all by itself. It's going to change dramatically again whenever they decide to implement tabs. Not because of the tabs, but because they're making major changes to the navigation pane. These are things I care about because I work on a book. But you know what? If I was supporting an enterprise or a business of any kind, this would also be a concern. Because sometimes you go to look at something and it doesn't look the same. And you have to be able to tell people why, or when it happened, or how, or whatever. Yeah, and it's just logic.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know. I know. I'm just standing in front of a giant tidal wave.
Old man yells at clouds, and in fact, the good news is that is in fact the header on today's show notes. So go ahead, yell. Go ahead, yell all you want.